the birthday where we nationally celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Y'all, this is so important, right? Celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King every year. We do this, and most oftentimes we think about his work when it comes to the civil rights movement. But did you know he was also on a path of pursuing economic justice for his community, right? All of the challenges that he faced, all of the challenges that he overcame for our civil liberties naturally and often overshadow the push and the pursuit that he began making for economic equality in his last days, y'all. And so today we are picking up that baton. All right. We are picking up that baton and we are going to carry his efforts forward when we talk about economic equality. And we're going to do it tonight through education, because that's what this is about. I want to make sure that you guys are educated on what we need to do to close the racial wealth gap, to close the financial education gap when it comes to our kids and with our families. Because let me tell you, there is no reason every generation should be starting from ground zero. All right. So with that, when we jump into talking about how to raise money savvy kids, I want to hear from you. You guys go ahead and put in the chat how old your kids are. Tell me how old your kids are, and then also tell me where you are joining us from tonight. How old are your kids, and where are you joining us from tonight? So I'm based right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I just want to see who we have in the building. Who do we have in the building? Let me see. Excellent. There we go. Excellent. So I see Atlanta. Excellent. A 1 and 3-year-old. I'm here in Atlanta as well. Coach CC, where are you joining us from? Shirley, where are you joining us from? Pour up, sip and eats. How old are your kids if it applies, right? Let me know, because this is going to be a great conversation where I can really lean in and talk about the age group that you are specifically raising at this very point in time. Perfect. I see 12-year-olds. I see 14-year-olds. Fantastic. Now, when you think about your childhood, many of us did not have a lot of conversations. If your childhood was like mine, that our parents may have given us some guidance, but there wasn't a whole lot of communication. And so one of the gifts that I want to share with you guys today is a resource that I created, and it's about money conversations that you can start with your little ones and with your middle ones and with your older kids, right? So these money conversations are prompts for you guys to get it going, to get it started, right? So you can actually see, what do your kids know? What do they understand? What do they misunderstand? But it's a great resource that when you stay to the end, I'm going to give you guys a link on how you guys can take this home for yourself. All right. So perfect. So just hold on to that. Remember that, because I'm going to make sure that each of you receive that. Now, as we move into this new year and you think about what you might want to instill in your kids, whether it's the values that you instill, whether it's the skill sets that you instill, I want to ask you to just take a step back, right? As an adult, as a parent today, what do you wish you learned about money as a child? And put those things in the chat for me. What are some of the things you wish somebody had just pulled you aside and shown you the way? What are the things that if you had learned about this earlier in life, your financial situation would look a whole lot different as an adult, right? What are some of those things for you all? Let me know in the chat. And I'm looking hard at the chat. What are some of those things for you? And when I talk to parents across the nation, yep, a lot of people say investing. Absolutely. Real estate. Yes. We know now that real estate can be the cornerstone of building wealth for generations to come. Yes, absolutely. Investing, real estate. And while they may seem like complicated topics, they are not. These are all things that we can start talking to our kids and showing them the way. And I have so many examples of exactly how to do that. Credit. Credit is what often gets a lot of us in trouble, right? And so if we just plant those seeds early, give our kids an opportunity to invest now, right? To talk to them about the differences between debit cards and credit cards. We may be able to circumvent them from going through a lot of the financial struggles that we may have gone through as early adults, right? Just because they now have the education and the information. So I appreciate that from you guys. And so that is what tonight is all about. You are going to discover what are some practical examples, what are some hands-on things that you can actually do with your kids, no matter their age, the 3-year-olds, the 14, 17, 12-year-olds, preteens. Y'all, they think they know everything, right? But we just got to keep sharing with them. And when we know they're not listening to us, we have to introduce them to other experts who they will receive it from, right? And so that's kind of where I come in. So my name is Holly Reid. I am the CEO of the Master Playbook, and y'all are in good hands. Okay. I am a CPA licensed in the state of Georgia. I'm also a financial education instructor. And a couple of years ago, I wrote my first book. It's called Teach Your Child to Fish: 5 Money Habits Every Child Should Master. And this book is actually targeted to parents about what we should be talking to our kids about before they leave the nest, right? And we have a variety of financial literacy materials that we've created just from the positive response that we got from so many families once they added this book to their library. And because of this book, it has opened so many doors for me, right? So I do a lot of speaking to college students. I do a lot of speaking to high school students, grade students. I run money camps for kids and for teens. And through those programs, I am able to expand and extend my reach far further than I could have ever imagined. Okay. And so I don't know about you all, but being born and raised in the South, right here in Atlanta, I was the youngest of 4 girls. So that's me sitting in my mom's lap in my little blue dress. And one thing that my dad did for sure is he would give us a lot of money advice. But let me tell you, the money advice would sound a little bit like this. It would say, Holly, don't spend all your money, right? Holly, I need you to save some of your money. Holly, I need you to, make sure you're putting something away for college or putting something away so you can buy the things that you want. And so while my dad gave us a lot of money advice, they also set high expectations for me and my sisters. And so by the time that I was 23, I had pretty much met the mark that my parents had set for me and my sisters. I went to college, right? I studied accounting, graduated with honors. And one of the things that my father instilled in me early on was he was like, I want you to move out of the family home into your own home. So at 23, I bought my first house because that was something that my dad constantly talked to me and my sisters about. I started working for one of the top public accounting firms in the world. And so, by all metrics, all measures, I was like the epitome of young and successful. So much so, y'all listen to this, that I was doing exactly what our America teaches us to do. Now, our America, it teaches us to live above our means, to not save a dime, right? To accumulate a bunch of debt. I'm talking credit cards, student loans, auto loans. I told y'all because of my dad, I had a whole house. So that came with a mortgage. And what happened was the dot-com bubble burst. And put simply, the economy started to tank. And the public accounting firm I was working with, started laying people off left and right. And guess what, y'all? Little Miss Epitome of Success, I got laid off. And Shirley, that was like my first taste of hitting rock bottom, right? Me on a free fall, not knowing what I was going to do. Because guess what? I had not prepared for such a time as this, right? And so I had to gather myself. And I was going to my parents' house because I was in my early 20s, going to my parents' house to tell them that their youngest daughter just lost her job, but I had all these bills, right? So I knew in that moment when I was planning to have that conversation with my parents that number one, I didn't want to disappoint them, but I wanted to go to them with a plan. Like, what was my plan of action? And let me tell y'all, that was my aha moment because I started reading everything I could. Back then, the gurus were your Susie Ormans, your Dave Ramseys. I started reading everything I could and putting it into practice, trying to see what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Do these people know what they're talking about? And let me tell y'all, as a result of just trial and error, trying different things, after I got my new job, I started, I managed to claw my way out of over $30,000 in debt. And that is what got me back on my bike again, right? I got out of debt, and let me tell y'all, I started preaching the debt-free gospel because I wanted everyone I knew and everyone I didn't know the power of being debt-free. I wanted everyone to know what it felt like on the other side of credit card debt, on the other side of student loans, on the other side of an auto loan, and just how much freedom that can afford you and what that feels like, right? So, fast forward, I'm now married to a wonderful man, and I have a bonus son. And so now that my bonus son is out of the house, for me, it's all about building a legacy. So this is a picture with me, my nieces and nephews, where I'm taking them on a tour of my alma mater, North Carolina A&T, right? And so not only do I want to teach them better, right? So that they know better, I want to give you and your family the master playbook. And that is why I'm here, right? We are on a mission to equip the next generation to master money. And the way that we do that is through our resources, through our programming, right? Through conversations. And this is so important, y'all, because let me just share with you guys where we are. Like this is almost like a state of the union. Where are we when it comes to financial literacy in the US? Still today, we in a new year, there are still 25 states that don't require high school students to take a class on personal finance before they graduate, right? 74% of teens don't feel confident about their financial education. 59% of parents are uncomfortable talking to their kids about money. And let me tell you, if they're not getting it at home, if they're not getting it in school, we are literally raising a generation of financially illiterate adults out there trying to make these decisions on their own. And what I say to that is not on my watch, right? The most startling statistic of all, let me show y'all, because I'm going to ask y'all to do a little math in a minute, right? The most startling statistic of all is that Black wealth is projected to be $0 by the year 2053. $0. So let me ask y'all this. For those who say they have kids who are 12 years old, add 30 years to that. And how old will your child be? Somebody put it in the chat. How old will your 12-year-old be in 30 years? Right? How old will they be? Yep, in their 40s, right? So guess who this statistic is talking about? It's talking about your kids, right? Our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, those are the years where we are making probably the most money that we'll make in a corporation, right? When you think about traditional jobs, traditional wealth trajectories, this statistic is talking about your kids. And so I implore you, pull out a pen and a piece of paper, pull out your note app on your phone, because I want to take you guys through the 5 money habits that I talk about in the book. It's going to be very high level. The book goes into much more detail, many more examples by the specific age groups. So you can take a snapshot of this, but we're going to walk through each one of these and we're going to talk about how you can start raising money smart kids. All right. Now, the very first money habit that we want to talk about tonight is work smart and be rewarded. Somebody put work smart in the chat. Work smart in the chat. Our kids have so many more options than we did when we were growing up, right? And so one of the biggest lessons is that we have to make sure our kids understand the association between work, doing something, right, for a reward and being rewarded on the other side of it. Now, before y'all be like, what you talking about? This is not about rewards, but it is. Let me give y'all some quick examples. Here's some examples. Right now, your child's very first job, even at 3 years old, your child's very first job is to be a contributing member of the family. And what does that look like? That looks like chores, right? There should be something that your child is responsible for that when they complete it, it helps the entire household run just a little bit smoother. All right. So for our younger ones, it could be helping with laundry, right? You do the laundry, mom or dad does the laundry. Help teach your child a pair of socks. Find the matching socks. Put them together, right? Put all your t-shirts in a pile. Fold them up. Teach them how to fold them clothes, right? But not just, but every child should have something that they are responsible for. And those rewards on the other end, it doesn't always have to be monetary. My parents couldn't afford to give me and my sisters an allowance. So what it might look like is my mama making my favorite meal for me, right? Or nowadays, giving your child extending their screen time if you have a set limit when they complete the things that they are supposed to do. All right. The next job your student should have is being the very best student they can be, whether that's being the A student, top of their class, or if a C student is the best they can be, then we want to encourage that. But the reward on the other side of that is they get good grades, right? It's a reason we call our kids student athletes because they are students first before they can get a position and play on a team, play football or basketball or serve in any of these extracurricular activities. All right. And then finally, as they get older and more mature, we want to encourage them to either find a job or start making their own money, becoming an entrepreneur, right? And the rewards on that side are endless. Most of us think of a paycheck, right? But they get new skills. They learn to work with different people. They learn communication skills. There are so many benefits to giving our kids a little leash to start practicing some of these things at their age. And let me tell y'all can literally go to any internet site, Google kid entrepreneurs, and find a plethora of examples of kids who have started their own business and who are doing really well with it, right? But let me tell you, one of the common denominators when you see these kid entrepreneurs is parent involvement. The parent didn't rush them away when they came to them with the idea, right? They helped them build the idea, think it through, help them go get the supplies to start a test kit or whatever. And so I just put 2 examples, and both of these guys, they are like teenagers and young adults at this point. But Michaela Ulmer started her business at 4 years old from her grandmother's lemonade recipe. She's based in Austin, Texas. And then Mosiah Bridges, you can Google him. He started making bow ties because his grandmother, listen how important this stuff goes back generation to generation. His grandmother had all this fabric. She used to sew. She had all this scrap and all this fabric. And he and his mom started making bow ties. Mo loved the bow ties, would wear them often. And people be like, oh, where can I get that? And so he started making them and ended up getting a licensing deal with the NBA. Now, I love that story, right? So just imagine what is possible when we start listening to our kids' ideas and helping them build something, right? It may not be the first, second, or third idea, but just going through that process, showing them the support, building their confidence so that they can start seeing the rewards for the work and effort that they put towards different things in life. All right. Lesson number two, money habit number two is all about saving and investing, right? Save first and consistently. Now, this is probably one of the most difficult money habits to master because it requires patience, right? It requires self discipline. And when you live in an environment or in a culture like ours where everything is instantaneous, it can be really difficult to teach our children the benefits and the goodness that comes when they can practice delayed gratification, right? And so that is why it's so important to start young, teaching them to pay themselves first. Every birthday, every Christmas, any occasion where they are receiving cash as a gift, you have got to talk to them about putting some of it aside, right? And practice, 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 because it's like building a muscle, right? You got to build this muscle so that when they become 16, 17, 18, and are making money, it's automatic. Why? Because they've been practicing it at 5, at 7, at 13, right? They've been practicing this habit. And so if you have, no matter the age, you guys can start mastering this money habit. And one of the ways that one of the scenarios, one of the things I know from talking to kids, you got to make it fun, right? They got to have some skin in the game, okay? And so with our young ones, our little ones, you can always start by collecting coins, right? Everybody knows that every state has its own quarter, right? You can go on Amazon, buy the map where you can start teaching your kids to look for the different quarters from each state, and then y'all start putting it up on the map, right? And it gives them something to look forward to. It's an interactive activity. My dad even posted it up. He even bought this because when it came out, we were grown, been at the house. But my dad was so intrigued, he posted his up on his wall and would put up his coins, right? So we can do that with our kids too. When they collect all 50 or 52 or however many different quarters there are, you can put that in a savings account for them. And guess what? Start over again. Absolutely. All right. So for our teens, our 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, one of the things I suggest is to make a really big deal about opening up a savings account for them. You want to make it almost like a rites of passage, right? Like, oh, now that you're getting older, you're going to take on more responsibility. And with that responsibility, I need you to learn how to start managing your money, how to save your money. So go to a physical location. I'm talking about make it a big deal. Go to a physical location, open it up at your local bank or credit unions, because credit unions have great accounts with incentives for our young people. And then finally, with our teenagers, child, they through with us. They don't want to hear nothing we have to say. So you really have to incentivize them. So with our teenagers, my challenge to you is think about the things that they are really interested in and then tie a savings goal towards that thing, right? Sweet 16, birthday party, going to the prom, their first date. Maybe you're going to allow them to drive your car, be able to drive your car different places on the weekends. And you can tie a savings goal to any of these like milestones in their life so that they actually pay attention, take notice, and can start putting things away. So when I say savings match, an example would be your child wants to save for this prom dress. She has her eyes on this prom dress. It's beautiful. Y'all look up the price. The prom dress is $150, right? So you say, all right, from the money that you earn, from the money that you make, from the money that you receive as gifts, if you say half of it, I'll give you the other half. Or you save 30% of it, I'll be glad to give you the other 30%, right? If not, guess what? You got to pick another dress, or you got to pick a dress that's in my budget, or however you want to do it is up to your discretion. But I highly encourage you. This is a key money habit that we've got to start practicing with our kids at every age. All right. The next money habit, we going fast. We going fast. Number 3 is spend wisely and consciously. Spend wisely and consciously. So when you are unconscious, you are what? You are asleep, right? We want our kids to be woke. We want our kids to be spending their money with a level of intentionality and consciousness. And the only way to do that is to bring it to their attention. One of the activities I remember doing when I was in middle school, our teachers knew we watched TV. We would watch, after school programs and cartoons and animated shows after school. And she said, okay, for homework, I want y'all to watch your favorite show and I want you to count how many commercials you see. And I thought that was key because she's teaching us to know the difference between the actual show we're watching and an advertisement. And then she would ask us a series of questions. What were they selling? What did they want you to buy? What did they want you to do? Right. And that's so important with our kids because the lines are so blurry. Y'all, the lines are so blurry. There are ads in the shows our kids are wearing. They follow us all around the internet with all these cookies. And so it's really important that they understand the messaging that is they are being hit with on a day in and day out basis. There have literally been studies that show that Americans spend 2 to 3 times more when we are using debit or credit cards. And so companies, they take their time, they research us, they want to know all about us, and they want to know all about your kids as well, right? Where they spend millions of dollars in order to make us loyal consumers. So we've got to teach our kids the marketing tactics, making sure they understand the difference between programming and advertising so that they don't fall for some of these messages that they are being hit with. And so one way that you can enforce and make sure your kids are spending wisely and spending consciously is making sure they know the difference between needs and wants, right? Between needs and what. This is a great visual, right? Because we need the apple, the fruits, the nutrients from fresh fruits and vegetables, but everybody want those cookies, right? Because it's sweet, is instant gratification. And so teaching our kids about prioritizing the things they absolutely need sometimes means that we as parents got to tell our kids no, right? And I know that that can hit a rough spot for a lot of parents because some of us are so caught up in trying to make our kids' childhood the epitome of the childhood that we wish we had. And let me tell y'all, without the struggle, without some opposition, without some pushback, we do not want to raise a generation of spoiled kids. They cannot have everything that they ask for. They just can't. They probably can, but I'm saying don't do it. Be firm. Be firm in your no's and yeses, right? So some things that you guys can do, I'm just going to put them on the screen. You can play store in the house. One example that I talk to parents about during the summer, when they're home from summer or they're home from like a winter break that might be coming up for many of us, our kids will eat us out of house and home. You hear me? Eat us out of house and home. So guess what? We play a little game where now the pantry, the snacks, it becomes an incentive. All right. So this is what you do. You separate the good for you snacks from the, sugary sweet, the ones that everybody want, and you separate those two. And you put a value on each set of snacks. And my suggestion is to make the sugary ones, the Oreos, the Doritos, the Flaming Hot Cheetos, put those at a higher stake, at a higher price point, and the natural, the fruits, the vegetables, the granola bars, put those at a lower one. And as they complete tasks throughout the week or throughout the break, then you give them some kind of piece of paper or a coin or something that says, okay, now take what you've earned based off of the things you've completed, and now you can go purchase what you want out of the snack drawer or out of the snack pantry basket or however you want to do it, right? But the goal is to start practicing these money habits. We can talk at them all day, but without the practice, without the practical application, it becomes very difficult. All right. All right. So the fourth money habit, use credit responsibly. Now, somebody might be like, well, why are you talking about credit? My child is 12. My child is 9 years old. And let me tell y'all exactly why I'm talking about credit. Have y'all ever heard of a little thing called gift cards? Right? Gift cards. We are all familiar with gift cards. Gift cards are just credit cards with training wheels. Y'all hear me? It is teaching our kids how to swipe, dip, tap to make a transaction, right? It's teaching our kids how to track the amount of money on the card so they'll know if they have enough to purchase something. It gives our kids a quick lesson on taxes, right? Because you can't buy a $20 item with a $20 gift card because you have to factor in sales tax depending on where you live, right? And so when we talk about gift cards, it's a great training tool, but soon, they watch us and they see us spending with our credit cards. They see us spending with our debit cards. But do they know the difference between the two? That's someplace you can start. What are the differences between a debit card and a credit card? And when we talk about credit, the overarching theme is like a loan. And we have to teach our kids that they have to honor their obligations, right? So if you borrow money, it's like an IOU. You borrow the money, you got to pay it back. So you have to teach them about honoring their obligations. That's the core value, right? Charge, they can only use it if they know they got the money coming in or they already have the money so that they can pay it off, right? And if they don't have the money, then they need to go back to that saving piece, right? And practice some patience and some self-control. And then more importantly, teaching them that getting credit cards and applying for credit cards is not a game. They should limit the number of credit cards. And so this is so important because I run into so many college students who just say, I didn't know. I didn't know that I was going to have to pay it back. I didn't know that this is how this works. And it's just so disappointing, right? To hear that. I don't know if you guys have ever had any experiences with that, but it just hurts my heart. And it's all because of lack of knowledge. And if we have anything to say about that, that won't be our kids. All right. Now, we talked about working hard, being rewarded, save first and consistently, spend wisely and consciously, using credit responsibly. And now our fifth money habit is to give generously. All right. Giving generously. We want to raise money savvy kids, but we also want to raise kids that have compassion and empathy for others. And so it is so important for us to talk to them about giving, talk to them about being a blessing in order to receive a blessing. And the way you can break this down is through the 3 T's of giving, through their time, their talent, and their treasure. And here are just some examples. Maybe 1 month, 1 day out of every month, you guys go volunteer as a family, but you do it based off of something that your child is interested in. Or if you're a member of an organization and this is just something you regularly do, bring them along. Let them see and learn about the causes that you care about. Talk to them about why you donate every year to your alma mater. why you donate your time every month to this particular organization, what it means to you, right? And this is probably the easiest money habit. I don't care how old your kids are. I can remember, being a little bitty something and helping my mom at a food bank, helping her deliver food to people who were in need. That kind of stuff sticks with you. But they don't they need to see it demonstrated. They also need to hear you talk about it and talk about why it's important. All right. So here are the 5 money habits we went through. I know I sped through those really quickly. Like I said, the book Teach Your Child to Fish, 5 money habits every child should master, is goes into much more detail. It gives you so many relevant examples that you could do with your child, whether they are 4 or 18, because as your child matures and grows, they see things differently, right? They may learn something, pick up something over here, okay, and be like, okay, now it's time to them. Now it's time for us to talk about debt. All right, now it's time for us to talk about not just needs and wants, but cost versus value, right? There are so many things that we need to just expose our kids to and not rely on other people to do it for us. All right. So I do want to open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm going to be looking for those. But in the meantime, I want to hear your feedback. So you can either scan this QR code, right? You can scan this QR code and put this feedback for me so that I can share it with For the Culture Foundation, right? If you found any value in this at all, then I want you to consider giving a donation, right, to For the Culture Foundation. They have gone through and organized this Thrive 2025 conference for us, for parents, for families. And if there is anything that you receive out of this, one of the ways that you can give back is by making a donation to the foundation. All right. So I have a question. What age do you recommend getting started? What's the suggested age for your flashcards? Yes. So the age that I recommend getting started is around that 4-year-old age. But let me tell you, any age where they start asking for things, where they start saying, I want or can I have, then that is a great age to start talking to them about money. And you guys would be surprised. Now, listen, I still live in Southwest Atlanta. And some of the kids that I work with, because we are in such a digital currency culture, they do not know a nickel from a dime. They can't tell me a quarter from a dime. And so making sure your kids understand some of these foundational things. Yes, we are quickly moving fast and furious away from, coins and dollars, but they still need to know what the coins are, what the dollars are, what's a $1 bill versus a $20 bill look like, right? So I would recommend age 4, or when they start asking for things, and or when they start asking for things. And then we do have our financial literacy smart cards, and we created those so that our kids can learn the language of money. Oftentimes parents say that there's a lot of intimidation factor just with the language, because we don't use it every day. We don't talk about your portfolio, or we don't talk about investments in everyday language. But our flashcards, as long as your child can read, whether that's 6 years old, I really say 6 and up, and usually 6 to 14, 15, so that they can become familiar with the terminology. And it's not just flashcards. Flashcards is a big part of it, but it also includes questions to spark money conversations, right? In the home. So you guys can start talking about that. All right, thoughts about teaching stocks and crypto. Absolutely. They absolutely should know what crypto is, because let me tell you, I don't think it's going away, cryptocurrencies. And I believe that their generation may work with it far greater than what we are doing with it today. There are establishments, I think Chipotle, a couple of restaurants that will accept Bitcoins and digital currencies in exchange for food or for products. And so they should absolutely be introduced to it. And let me tell y'all, there are so many resources out there. I've seen children's books that someone has written explaining to a child about cryptocurrency. And parents, don't be intimidated if you don't know what it is. Guess what? Learn through the children's book. Go pick up the children's book, and you can learn side by side with your kids. Teach and talk to them about stock. We a lot of the technology and advancement today is talking to our kids, but it's all about exchanging money, being consumers of things. And we really need to change our language and our mindset and talk to our kids about ownership. What do you want to own one day? Right. And so that's the perfect segue to talk about stocks, because that's all that is. A share of stock is an ownership into a company. So instead of buying all the Nikes, all the Air Jordans, all the Fenty, instead of doing that, buy a share of stock, and then y'all can watch it together. Watch how it does, whether it goes up or down. And I highly recommend starting with things and products and services that you're currently using in your own household. All right. And so this has been fantastic. I am so excited for you guys. And I do see the other questions. So let me take it. So tips for building your kids' credit. Yes, tips for building your kids' credit. Let me tell y'all, this is a hot topic. So one of the things that I would do for my child, right, is one of the things you can do to help them build their credit is you can add them as an authorized user on your credit card. Now, listen to me carefully. You only do that if you have superb credit. If you got jacked up credit, don't be adding your child to your credit card, because what does that do? That's going to be a snapshot of their credit profile, right? But if you have excellent credit, if you pay your bills on time every time, then I would highly recommend it, right? It gives them it starts building their credit file so that when they are young adults and they're looking to buy a property, when they're young adults and they're looking to buy a score, there's some history there that will allow them to get better interest rates when they are trying to do some of the things that we want for them in life. But if your credit is not great, don't worry about it. There are other ways you can do it. And one way I would suggest, even if you don't feel comfortable, right? So adding them as an authorized user, you can either tell them or not. But if you tell them, then that comes with more responsibility, because now you got to have a conversation, right? A lot of parents give their kids another copy of their credit card to use in emergencies, but then y'all don't define the emergencies. Y'all only go off when they use it inappropriately, or when you use it in a way that you deem inappropriate. So it comes with conversation, it comes with responsibility and accountability. But I love the fact that there are so many ways we can help our kids. And if you don't have great credit, but you know you want to help your teenagers start establishing good credit for themselves, my number one recommendation is to help them get a secured credit card. And with a secured credit card, you have to put a deposit down, right? And then you use a credit card as normal, as a normal credit card. And then over time, that credit card is being reported to the credit bureaus, is building their credit history in a favorable way. But if they ever default, they're going to pull from that deposit that you made when you opened up that card. But a secured credit card would be a great way to help your kids and teenagers start building credit, especially your teenagers, right? Absolutely. So this has been fantastic. I want to make sure that each of you receive the gift. So when you fill out the feedback form, once you complete it, hit submit, you're going to automatically get access to the Money Conversations resource This is so important, you guys. I am excited that you all were able to join us as we kicked it off today. And so I'm going to turn it over to our lovely host so that she can keep this party going.
Holly, thank you so much. I was backstage, so you didn't see, but I had my sons over here tuning in. They, of course, don't know what the heck is going on, but they are a part of the conversation. And I just feel like it was seeping into their subconscious. So thank you so much for kicking off Thrive 2025. I cannot think of a better way to start this conversation about sustaining ourselves than this conversation about increasing our financial literacy and making sure that we are teaching our kids to do better, because that statistic about our wealth like being non-existent, about us just disappearing, like our wealth just coming, out of our community at a rapid rate. We have to start doing something about it. And the work that you are doing is so important. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you for kicking off Thrive 2025. Y'all, make sure you follow Holly. Her Instagram is right down below at the Master Playbook. I will make sure that I send you all her link so you can make sure that you get on her list and stay connected. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Y'all, y'all know that you cannot be out here doing God's work without the devil trying to shake some ish up, okay? Because I realized that my microphone was not on when I did my welcome. So prior to coming live, me and Holly were like, why can you not hear me? What is going on? And then I realized it was me. It was my microphone. So I am here. I am back. And I am going to do an official welcome since you missed the first welcome. Okay. So officially, I would like to welcome you to Thrive 2025. If you are joining me for the very first time, then welcome. I am Coriel. I am the founder and executive director of For the Culture Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit who believes that in order to heal, or in order to help the Black community, we have to heal the Black family. And this virtual learning experience is just one way that we are doing that. Now, Thrive 2025 is completely free, but we do encourage you all to make a donation if you can find it in your heart or in your wallet to do so. Okay, every dollar counts, and every single dollar collected will be reinvested directly back into the Black community through our Sleepy Mom Project. Now, if you have not heard, every single month we are sending a stressed out mama on a free staycation. So not only can you donate and support that project, but you can also nominate yourself or a mom who you know that is local to Atlanta and could use a night of uninterrupted rest. Okay. So 100% of the donations will fund those free staycations for a stressed out mom. Not only does she get a night away, she also receives dinner delivered directly to her door and a 1 hour massage. Trust me when I say this is every mama's dream come true. So you can log on to thecurefortheculture.com to learn more about For the Culture Foundation, to nominate a mom, or to make a donation. Now, Thrive 2025 is the first of several virtual learning experiences that we are proud to be presenting in 2025. It is no coincidence that we decided to kick off Thrive 2025 on MLK Day. The dream that Martin Luther King started so many years ago is hopefully continuing, and we are carrying that torch so that we can continue impacting our community. If 2020 and 2024 and even 2025 so far has not taught us anything, it should be that nobody is coming to save us, and we have to figure out how we can save and sustain ourselves. And so Thrive 2025 is focused on the Black family, finances, and farming so that we can do just that. Tonight's conversation is all about the family. We just wrapped up session 1, which is all about raising money savvy kids. Now, our next session is all about the importance of raising bilingual Black children so that they can be prepared to do business globally. How many of y'all wish you would have paid just a little bit more attention in Spanish 101? Because, baby, if I knew back in 2001, what I know now in 2025, your girl would have paid more attention. Now, I know vacation Spanish. Okay, I can survive in Mexico. I had a hard time in Cuba. That was some different type of Spanish, but I know Mexican Spanish well enough to order food, to get directed to the bathroom. I can do a little something, something, but I don't know what I wish I knew. And because I don't know what I wish I knew, it is up to me to make sure my kids know what I wish I knew. And so this whole week is all about us learning what we could do better, but then also making sure that we are passing the torch and ensuring that what it took us a long time to learn, we start teaching our children early. And so we are about to be joined by LaShonda Fitzgerald. Make sure if you have not already followed her on Instagram, you go ahead and do so. Her handle is at Ready for Spanish. The next person and voice that you see and hear will be LaShonda. So welcome to Thrive 2025. And LaShonda, did you have trouble pulling your slides up? If so, let me know. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and pull you up. Hey girl, hey.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Okay, I'm pulling my slides up right now.
Perfect.
Let's make sure we got it. Okay, can you see them? Can you see me? All right, guys, let me know in the comments if you
Hit a
can.
button. It says enter full
Okay,
screen.
okay,
Yeah. Okay.
gotcha. All right, we are here. I am so excited to be here, especially on this Martin Luther King holiday. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you that are here. If we have not met, my name is LaShonda Fitzgerald, and I am the creator and founder of Ready for Spanish. Ready for Spanish is an online Spanish learning platform for children and families. We are currently in over 10,000 households, over 2,000 combined schools and households, serving over 10,000 families throughout the United States and in 3 countries. So I'm excited to share with you guys tonight how to get your children thriving in today's global society. If you have questions throughout, just to make sure, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Ready for Spanish. Once this training is over, I am a real person. I will go back in, make sure I answer your questions. And for those of you guys who stay to the end, I have something really good for you guys. So by the end of this workshop, you'll know the exact steps. I'm going to teach you the exact steps to start your child's Spanish learning journey and set them up for success in today's multicultural society. Again, stay to the end because I have a special bonus that will make starting even easier for you guys. So let's jump in. But before I start, I do want to tell you guys just a little bit about me. I do not come from a Spanish speaking family, right? So nobody in my family speaks Spanish. I'm not a native speaker. I was actually introduced to Spanish through Sesame Street, right? And I wanted to learn Spanish. I would, pretend that I spoke Spanish at the mall. I was just speaking gibberish, but I did not have the opportunity to take a language class until I was in the 7th grade. Even though I had a natural curiosity because I was introduced through Sesame Street, but nobody in my community knew Spanish, nobody, in my home. So from 7th grade, I fell in love with the language. It was like a cheat code for me. It felt magical for me. I just felt like I was connected and a whole world unlocked for me. I grew up in the inner city. So I knew that this was something that could get me out of my current situation. Again, but as much as I wanted to learn, I just didn't have access to those language classes. And in 7th grade, so I studied Spanish in middle school, high school, college. This is what really sparked my mission. Throughout all of my studies, I never saw a person of color, a Black person at all in any of my books, in any of my materials. And that was discouraging because that makes you feel like, or it made me feel like, well, maybe Black people don't speak Spanish. And that's not true. There's a whole diaspora of Spanish-speaking people who look just like me, as well as learners all over the world. So I wanted to create a program that the learners, the people who were actually speaking, could see themselves in what they were learning. So that's just a little bit about me, my background, and how I got started. I wanted to empower Black children to learn Spanish, just because even in affluent families, we aren't always encouraged to take the AP language classes or to continue studying. And when I think about the kids that I work with now, I can see that same spark, that same curiosity that I had when I was introduced years ago. And my goal is just to nurture that spark into a lifelong love of learning. So let's jump into it. Why Spanish is a must-have skill for your child's future. So the global significance is Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world, with over 580 million speakers. That is 580 million opportunities for your child to have friends, to do business, to connect, to learn, to live in community, to experience. So there is a global significance to learning a second language. There are also advantages of being bilingual. There are cognitive benefits. It improves your problem solving, your memory. Even studies have shown that being bilingual supports Alzheimer's. Like, it helps prevent Alzheimer's. It helps you become more creative. It just taps into that problem solving part of your brain. Students who are bilingual and who are learning a second language perform higher on standardized tests. They're able to focus better. And there are definitely career benefits. How could you benefit in your career if you were bilingual? So just think about the demand and the competitive advantage that it gives to your children for setting them up to becoming bilingual. I have a case study here. It's about a student of mine named Gabriel. Gabriel is 9 years old. Him and his mom are learning Spanish inside the Ready for Spanish community. And he has pen pals in 3 Spanish-speaking countries and is excited to study abroad. When I was 9 years old, I didn't even know that I could study abroad. Like, I didn't even know that that was an option for me. So we are just preparing our kids to think differently, right? So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And before we really jump into the training, I really want to talk about the myths and fears about learning Spanish. Because even today in 2025, there are a lot of attitudes, and I get a lot of pushback from families, from parents, about why their kids can't do it, right? So on the one hand, you say, oh, I believe in my children can have everything, I want to give my kid the world. But when it comes to them learning a language, a lot of times parents bring their own fears into why their kids can't do it. And I'm here to tell you that they can. So myth number 1, especially because I encourage parents to introduce their kids to a foreign language as early as possible. A lot of the myths I hear is, won't my child get confused? Like, my child doesn't know English yet. How are they gonna learn Spanish too? It's gonna confuse them. That is a myth. And the fact is, bilingual children often perform better in both languages. So you're equipping them ×2, because it's going to give them that enhanced cognitive flexibility. When a baby is born, a baby is actually born with an ability to learn language. They aren't just programmed for one language. They're programmed just for language, period, right? So they're just going to do better. It's going to enhance their cognitive flexibility. Okay, so myth number 2, isn't it too late to start? Right? So a lot of times people will say, oh, well, I wish I would have started when I was younger, right? I'm too old. I can't learn as fast now. Well, younger learners have advantages, but older learners have advantages too. So the difference is a child is going to be open, right? They don't have as many fears about being perfect, about being right. However, an older learner has experience. So an older learner has more connections. So if I were teaching a younger learner, I wouldn't teach them how to conduct a business meeting just because they don't have that experience yet. Their language is going to continue to develop and grow with age. As an adult, you have that experience and you're developing the language. So it's never too late. Kids and adults alike can succeed with the right approach, support, and community. So I do have a question. Jasmine Patterson, she says, can adults learn on there too? So Ready for Spanish, our online community, is created for parents and children to learn together, just because that's how language is naturally acquired at home. Like when you first learn to speak English, you learn that in the home with your family. And Ready for Spanish does more of that natural approach. And we encourage families to learn together. So, great question. Yes, adults can learn too. And we encourage you to learn alongside your children. Okay. And myth number 3, I don't speak Spanish. So, how can I help? Okay. I get it. You're like, listen, how am I going to help my child do something that I don't know how to do? And there's so much information. Learning, teaching is so much easier than before. So you can use fun, simple resources to create an engaging learning environment at home, even if you don't speak Spanish yourself or are a complete beginner. Okay. So those are just some of the myths. And I just want to let you guys know that there is no reason that your child cannot learn. They can do it, and you can do it too. So here are the 5 steps to start your child's Spanish journey. And I've really broken them down for you to make it easy. If you have a pen and paper or if you want a screenshot, let's just go ahead and tune in. So step number 1 is to start small. A lot of times people won't learn to do something or feel like they can't learn to do something when really all you need to do is start, right? So start small. Start today, even if you did a little bit every day, that's gonna add up. So focus on building vocabulary, introduce simple everyday Spanish words, colors, greetings, animals. Start from where you are. Use flashcards or sticky notes around the house to help you. And I'm gonna give you a spoiler. So if you are following me on Instagram, I want you to pause right now, go to Instagram.com/ready for Spanish. If you message me flashcards, once this training is over, I will send you a free Ready for Spanish digital flashcard set to help you get started. Okay. So if you go on Instagram and you message me, I'm going to give you a flashcard set to help you get started, right? Start small. That is step number 1. Okay, so step number 2, make it fun. When Coriel came on, she's like, oh, I wish I would have paid attention in some of them Spanish classes. You couldn't pay attention because them classes was boring. Okay, you cannot pay attention to something that is not fun. You didn't have any connection. I already told you it wasn't no Black people in there. So you're just looking at something that is not connecting for you. All right. So when we teach our kids, we need to teach our kids in a way that impacts them, that's beneficial to them. What is your child's learning style? All right. Use games and songs to make it fun. Okay. So step 1, start small. Step 2, make it fun. You don't want to make it where they're like, oh, I don't want to do it. It's a chore. No, you want them to look forward to doing it. Okay. So inside the Ready for Spanish program, which is at readyforspanish.com, we actually introduce children and families to Spanish using music and movement. So that touches on a lot of different learning styles, right? A lot of children can't sit down for hours at a time and learn and do boring drills. Hold on, that's my child. Yes. Okay, I'm on a training, okay? Okay, I love you. Okay. All right. When I get off the training, okay, I'm a mom, y'all. I'm one of those stressed out moms that need the that need the thing. So we're gonna make it fun. All right, step 3, incorporate culture. All right. So celebrate Spanish speaking traditions like Hispanic Heritage Month or try Spanish recipes. I have a Facebook group for Ready for Spanish Families. You guys are welcome to join. We do a lot of cultural activities there in the group. I also encourage you to participate in community events or cultural festivities and festivals. The internet has made language learning easy and accessible. However, you want to take that out into the real world too. So if you see there's a cultural festival, you may want to go on Meetup and see if there are any cultural activities that you can expose your children to. It's literally about early exposure. Step 4, consistency over perfection. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is what makes it really hard for adults is because we are sometimes afraid to make mistakes, right? We don't want to look like we don't know what we're doing, which can hinder us from introducing our children to something new. However, if you are willing to put that to the side and let your child know, like, hey, I'm learning too, I'm open to learning, that's going to set your child up for even more success. Just to let them know that they don't have to be perfect to do it. But being consistent is what will get them there. So I encourage you to build daily habits. Just 10 minutes a day of Spanish is better than 2 hours a week. So it's at Ready for Spanish on Instagram. Okay, 10 minutes a day. So our Ready for Spanish program, we encourage families. We have ready-made activities with 5 simple learning activities every week. There's flashcards, there's music, there's learning videos that help children learn and practice Spanish in 10 to 15 minutes a day. It doesn't even feel like, oh, I'm sitting in this class. It's just like, oh, let me continue to build this skill, to create this habit and incorporate it into my world. Okay. And step 5, leverage community. We talked about this some. So join local or online Spanish groups or classes for kids like Ready for Spanish. There are others, but Ready for Spanish is created specifically for kids and families. You can Google and find pen pal programs or Spanish speaking playgroups and meetups in your area. I really encourage you to do that. So language is all about connection. It connects us to people and it fosters understanding, which is so important, especially in the days and times that we are living in right now, right? So there are a lot of attitudes, a lot of feelings about learning a second language, right? But I have never seen or been in a situation where being bilingual didn't empower me, didn't support me, didn't boost me financially, emotionally, having more support, having a larger network. That's not going to hurt me. So I want you to ask, how powerful would it be if your child could build these connections too? Okay. So let's learn some Spanish. This is my favorite part of this training, and we're moving really quickly. So I hope you guys have questions because I'll have time to get to them. But I wanted to make sure that we got some time to actually practice learning Spanish. Like I said, inside Ready for Spanish, we teach a lot through music and movement. So here is a song that I created. It has a lot of different ways to say goodbye in Spanish. And I want to teach them to you right now. So here are the words. I have them on the screen. You can take a screenshot so that you can practice later. And I encourage you to use this with your children. Like when you tell them goodbye, when they get out of the car for school, you can use these words to teach them how to say goodbye. So we know adios means goodbye. It's how we tell our friends goodbye. Adios, right? But that's just one way, right? It's 2025. We're bilingual. We're going to learn 4 different ways. 5, actually, I left one off to say goodbye to our friends today. So we can say adios. That's one way. So we say adios because that's a part of the song. And we can say hasta luego, hasta luego. Let me know in the comments if you've ever told somebody hasta luego. We say adios all the time, adios, but hasta luego means see you later, right? Hasta luego, hasta luego. So we got adios, hasta luego, amigos. Amigos are our friends because learning Spanish opens us up to over 580 million opportunities to have new friends. All right. So adios to say goodbye, hasta luego to say see you later. Nos vemos. Have you ever said nos vemos to say goodbye? Because it's a way to say goodbye. It just means see you. Nos vemos. Nos vemos. So now we have 3 ways to say goodbye. We have adios, hasta luego, amigos, nos vemos, which also means see ya. Then we have hasta pronto, see you soon, right? So we have, guys, 4 ways to say goodbye in Spanish, right? Don't just keep telling people adios. Switch it up because I'm teaching you some additional ways. So we have adios, hasta luego, amigos, nos vemos, hasta pronto, adios. Adios just means bye. Hasta pronto, see you soon. Nos vemos, see you. Hasta luego, see you later. Adios, bye. And then we're just going to put it together as a song, okay? So it goes, adios, hasta luego, amigos, nos vemos, hasta pronto, adios. Ciao. Ciao is a very common European way to say goodbye. All right. Ciao. So what I like to do with my students is I put their names in there for amigos. And I want you to do this with your own child, like when you tell them bye. So if somebody wants to type your child's name in the comments, I'll use your child's name as an example. I'll just wait. Coriel, what's just anybody. Type your child's name. So I'll use it with my daughter. My daughter's name is Ava. So when Ava leaves, I'll say, adios, hasta luego, Ava. Nos vemos, hasta pronto, adios. Ciao. And I'll just use all those different ways to say goodbye to her. So I encourage you guys to learn and practice and to use your child's name in this song. But inside Ready for Spanish, what about deuces? Just say nos vemos. Nos vemos. All right. And to use your child's name in the song and just make it simple, easy, and fun for them to learn, just like we've done here at Ready for Spanish. I've also put some additional resources on here, some bonus resources to help you get started, including a music playlist. We have a Learn Through Music playlist that I'd love for you guys to use, play in the car with your children just to get started. So why start now? The world is changing rapidly. In fact, the world has changed, okay? We have neighbors, friends, co-workers, the internet. It's so easy to make a friend. These opportunities are right in our face. Now is the time to start. And bilingualism isn't just an advantage anymore. Just due to the changes, it is becoming a necessity. I get so many calls, guys, I can't even take them, for people that's like, oh, can you please translate this for me? Can you please, I don't know, what this person is saying. It's becoming hard to live without being bilingual. And again, the earlier you start, the better, but it's never too late to give your child the gift of becoming bilingual. All right. So I do have some resources here to help you get started. Just go ahead and scan this QR code for your bonus resources. It'll have your flashcards on there. There's a music playlist, some things to help you get started with your children so you can start taking advantage of these benefits. We do have a Spanish learning community. I've talked about it some, readyforspanish.com. I would love for your family to join us inside the community. We actually have a special promotion right now, and it's to join Ready for Spanish, it's $20.25 for the year when you use code 2025. That makes learning affordable. That makes it accessible because you can log in 24/7 around your family's schedule. It'll give you access to our community. It supports my family, my Black-owned business, the work that I do in communities and schools. It helps me to be able to show up for programs like this. So we would love to have you join our community. Just be sure to use code 2025 at checkout to apply the offer. Okay. So I do want to end with this quote: the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. And I do not want you or your children to be limited. um, Language unlocks unlimited opportunities. And I just can't wait to see all the amazing things that you and your families are doing out in the world. So it has been a pleasure. Mucho gusto. So nice to meet you. Again, scan the code for bonus resources. And if you guys have questions, I am on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate this conversation so much. You hit all of the points, I think, especially when you were talking about the myths, because everything that you said are definitely thoughts that I've had. And really all of that is just limiting beliefs. It's us convincing ourselves that we can't do something that we haven't even attempted. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. And thank you for having a resource that will not break the bank. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard that, but please just repeat the investment and then the code to be able to take advantage of that offer.
Yes, so you can join for $20.25 for the year. That will give you access to all our Spanish learning activities for the whole year. It will auto renew, but if you lock in, it's going to auto renew at $20.25. So even if you forget to cancel, I'm not going to trick you, right? And that work supports, guys, so many families, so many children who wouldn't have access to Spanish learning any other way. So I thank you guys. And also, a lot of the children that you will see in the program look like our children. And that is very intentional and empowering.
And it matters. It's
It
so
matters.
important. Representation is so super important. Now, I'm right here in ATL, Shawty. So the representation is here. But baby, there are places and spaces where our children don't have the opportunity to see people who look like them doing amazing things. And so it's important that we show up to be able to support our community, because it truly does take a village. So I know your baby over there hungry. Okay. Mom
Listen,
life,
she was like, I told her
tearing
before
you
this, I
down.
said, let me do my training. She like, Mama, I can't take it. I'm so hungry. She is not hungry, y'all. But I'm
Listen.
a real mama. I'm a real entrepreneur.
And this is real life. Okay. The number of times that my children have come around this corner and are like standing right here, it's like, what can we do? I mean, this is what it's for. And what I appreciate is that real life happens and we keep it moving. We keep it moving and we show up, because at the end of the day, what are we doing all of this for if we are not going to acknowledge these children? Because that is who we are putting in all of this work for. So it is never a bother. They are never in the way. They are a part of the conversation. They are the reason for the conversation. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, LaShonda, and you all make sure you head over to Ready for Spanish on Instagram and readyforspanish.com. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. Use code
Perfect.
2025 at checkout.
Code 2025 at checkout. Now, I'm not going to say deuces like Holly. I'm going to say, what was it? Besides adios?
Adiós, hasta luego, Coriel. Nos vemos hasta pronto. Adiós. Ciao. Let's do the ciao. I like ciao. Ciao.
Ciao. So wait, what country specifically says, is there a country that specifically says ciao?
Everybody say ciao.
Oh, okay. So I could say ciao or I could say adios. It's just
You can
interchangeable.
say adios. You can say hasta luego. You can say nos vemos. You can say hasta pronto. Switch it up on them.
Listen,
They're not
I
gonna
need
be
to
ready for
join.
you.
They're
Okay.
not gonna be ready for me.
Mm-mm.
Next time I hit Mexico, baby, they're not gonna be ready for
They not
me.
gonna
They
be
already
ready.
think when I say my little poquito, when I add my little thing, they think I be knowing something, but now I'm gonna know something for real. I'm signing up. I'm joining the community. So I thank you. I appreciate you for your time, and I thank y'all so much for being here for Thrive 2025. Thank you, LaShonda.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone.
If only y'all could see my children like literally running in to just hate on me right now. When I tell y'all this is real life and these children are the reason for the season, okay? And that is literally our whole purpose and point, not only with Thrive 2025, but with For the Culture Foundation. I truly, truly believe that the foundation of Black excellence, the foundation of Black wealth, the foundation of Black business is the Black family. And so we had to kick off 2025 with an opportunity to learn how we can thrive as a collective, as a community, and within our family. I truly pray that day one has been impactful, that our focus on family has taught you something that you can take back and teach someone else. We are going to be right back here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern for day 2, where we will focus on, what are we focusing on tomorrow? I think we're focusing on, are we focusing on finance? Farming. I'm like, no, finances is day 3. Tomorrow we're focused on farming. And baby, I am thrilled. Now, I was excited about all of the sessions, but there's something about this whole concept of me being able to start a farm right in my backyard and be able to truly sustain myself and my family that is just so intriguing for me. And I think for you all too, because I was reading your comments and I know y'all are super excited to learn about land ownership as well as turning that land into a sustainable farm. So join us tomorrow for day 2 of Thrive 2025, where we will focus on farming. Now, as I mentioned, this is a completely free learning experience, but we are absolutely encouraging donations. Every single donation is tax deductible. That means that you will automatically receive a tax receipt for your donation that you can hand over to whoever does your taxes and be able to deduct your donation. Okay. So if you feel led, log on to thecurefortheculture.com. Every dollar raised is directly reinvested in the Black community through our staycation program. If you would like to nominate yourself or a stressed out mama that you know, log on to thecurefortheculture.com. Follow us on Instagram at The Cure for the Culture, and we will see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern for day 2. Peace.